if it's an arms race, you better be really good at reading and understanding rules, really good at building a car, or have someone, building your car that is good at that and kind of understands what you're doing. And you better be able to wheel the crap out of that thing.
Green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
If you're ready to bump up a class, move up, I'm air quoting, or in theory go faster, this is your podcast. It's going to be super Honda-centric likely, but the thought process should apply for everyone. So joining me, former H2 racer, did a short stint in H1, but it doesn't really exist. Now racing Super Touring 4, ironically in a car she didn't go to college in. So my joke doesn't get to play out here. The podcast suspension guru, probably the queen of the podiums in the Northeast, really, let's be real. Miss Lowbuck Motorsports herself, driver, coach, racer, 3D printing addict. Jackie Andrews, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. That was some intro.
I'm going to insert applause and everything. Don't worry. I got you. I paid 99 cents for a applause download just for you. So.
Oh, thank you.
My screen is doing something different. That is weird. But it's recording, so we're going to leave it alone. So, let's catch up with you. Is the car running yet? No. Okay. Is building a car... No. It probably is. Is building a car for a faster class a more slippery slope than you thought it would be?
No. Let me retract my statement. Initially, no. Then yes, in the middle. And now currently no, because now nothing surprises me.
Right.
Some of the things you end up dealing with is like different rule sets written by different people and the style is different. So you're just kind of learning that stuff. But at this point, nothing is a surprise.
Yeah, I think you have experience, right? Because the old Red Hatch was a ST4 car also, right?
Yep.
So I think you're like done the whole Dunning-Kruger part of this whole, is it,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I just wanted to sort of have a cautionary tale that it's not more of a slippery slope than the first time you built your car if you're moving classes, Yeah. It's just a new slope. And so, but I think we'll get into it, but you've taught me that if you mess with one thing, there's probably a trickle down that goes for increasing your speed, increasing your downforce, messing with the car in general, right? Like you have to think about all the trickle down of what you're about to do. And when you change classes, there's a lot of things trickling down, I think. But I'll let you confirm when we talk about this. So I probably am going to move from H2 to Super Touring 4. So as a
big news,
you can be my cautionary tale, right? Because you've done it. You did it. You've gone through the motion, right? So how should we approach looking at a new rule book, sort of, because you've talked about people write one way and other people write another way. So when we're looking at a new class, how should we approach the rule book? Because I don't think my car will be maximized for the class, but it will be optimized as best I can every chunk of my budget spend, right? So how do you look at the rules?
It almost is similar to when we were talking about the new tire, when Honda Challenge got a new tire, and it's approach it like it's completely new. Almost to that point, but not quite, because you do have some previous experience with rules and whatnot. But it's such a big change because it's going from a rule set that tells you what you can and can't do, but isn't power to weight based, to ST that is power to weight based. And the way that alone is calculated is like kind of weird. So, anybody that's going to ST from not a power to weight class, even if you're coming, I think like from GTS or something, I think it's still different the way they calculate it. That's important right off the rip because they use average horsepower. I mean, you can do both, but peak doesn't make any sense if you're trying to optimize. So you look at that, okay, it's average. So everybody's got some dyno sheets kicking around. Just play with the calculator because that's the one good thing about ST is that horsepower calculator is online somewhere. I think I have a link for it somewhere. And you can just start plugging stuff in. Okay, my car weighs this and da-da-da-da and see kind of where it works, where it lands, and how close you are and which way you want to go if you need to make a change. Am I going to make more power or am I going to pull weight out? Whatever the case. And then the tire, because you and I, same, have driven on a spec tire for so long, and now the world is your oyster. And what you think is the right answer isn't. I can tell you that right off the rip.
Okay, so I shouldn't get the AO55, but
well, that's actually not what most people go to immediately, so that might work. Actually,
I played a lot on the calculator, so
I'm sure
you need to really assess. To me, you need to assess where your car is versus the new rules, specifically for ST. There is the power to weight. You do have the calculator to play with, which I have. Realize in my position, I'll be on 17 by 8s in the back, likely, to save me funds. And I have a stack of them, right? Some fancy matchy ones. And the fronts are going to be a 9.5 or by 10, right? So, or we're going to try anyway. So
that sounds about right, give or take.
Yeah. So I looked at it as I know I can get my car down to like 1,700. So let's safely plug in 2,750. And since it's power to weight, it shoots. I took all the modifiers. I wanted to play with all the stuff, right? I wanted to do aero. Why not? I know Mario. We're going to the wind tunnel in 2027. Like, why not mess with it, right?
You got to start going to the shaker rig, bud.
I'm not that rich, okay? First off, I'm not rich at all. But, the shaker rig is much more expensive.
Insert eye roll here.
Yeah. Well, if you'd have seen how Jackie just rolled her eyes at me, I thought they were coming around in her head like the Exorcist head did on her shoulders, okay? So...
but yeah, optimize. Optimize what you have is a great idea.
Right. So look at what you have. What can you do? Right. Okay. Got a K24 in the car. Well, not really, but I have two K24 now. Two K24s now. Engines now. So how much power do I need to make at 2,750 with the modifiers I'm choosing to take? Right. Now, I may actually give back 0.3 for the splitter rule because my car's stubby and I haven't laid under it with the axles in it since March, so I don't really know. But I think the axles are so close to the firewall anyway, I won't take the extension, and I don't believe I need to go much farther than 4 inches. So I'll be at like 3 3/4 inch thing. So look at the aero rules. But first, that's when you're playing with the calculator and I found the zone of my horsepower. I think with A8 Hoosiers, R8, A8, I don't know. Hoosiers are too much money for me. I don't look at those. But from the highest tire modifier to like the Toyos, I could be anywhere from 220 horsepower up to like 200 and average, up to 270 average. Now, the 270 was a little tempting, but it would I would do something dumb, and I don't really want to get into that. But essentially, when you're moving up, generally speaking, you're going to put out more power, right? So there's a bunch of stuff we need to consider with power. So you've made the power, right? That you need?
I was 47 wheel average under where I needed to be with a K20.
47
average.
Oh man, this is bad.
Okay. And I was never last. So
okay,
unless I broke.
Yeah, but I don't drive by like you. So let's be real.
You're gonna need to.
So essentially, me looking up, I'm looking at what do I need to do to make this, let's say, like a 250-ish average, which puts me at like a 265-ish peak, right?
Mm-hmm. About that.
Somewhere in there, likely with the K24. So you start surfing the internet. I'm going to need cams, valve springs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That also means I'm likely going to end up on the 12.5 to 1 or a 13 to 1 bottom end. So rods and pistons are in my future, right?
Could be. Yep.
Yeah. In general, when you start increasing your power, the injectors you're on, not cutting it anymore.
Yep.
All the auxiliary stuff, right?
That's correct.
I'm probably going to run E85. Guess what? That's a kit. You run pump gas, you run 93 in your cage. Okay.
I run 93 and everything. So here's the problem with ethanol. It makes more power. It doesn't make a ton more.
Right.
Like, you'll make the cap that you need on pump gas. The problem is, and especially down by you, and this is something you need to consider, is your races are 40 minutes.
Right.
Are you going to make a 40-minute race on ethanol? Or are you going to literally run out of fuel?
That's true. Okay.
That's why I'm shaking my head. It's going to cost more because you're going to go through so much more fuel for the weekend. But can you physically make it through a race?
Yeah, probably not on a
because I know
12-gallon tank.
People that tried it back in the day and couldn't.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like had to sandbag the first 5 laps, otherwise they wouldn't make the race or pray for a yellow.
Okay. All right. Well, in Thunder that happens a lot, so we'll see. But
yeah.
Okay. So the other thing you need to look at, in my opinion, is oiling, cooling, fuel pump. Like, I'm still on a stock fuel pump, and is it gonna like feeding bigger injectors for a long time? It's been in there. Chassis got like 160,000 miles. Like, do I just do the upgrade now?
Yep.
These are all decisions you have to make. I want to make horsepower isn't cams alone, isn't pistons and rods alone. It's basically everything that touches your engine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Will your header do it?
It's like doing a case swap. The engine is the cheapest part.
That is.
All the ancillary stuff is really what's going to get you.
Yeah, except for when you're talking about like a pocket port head, cams, pistons, rods. It's about equal. It's about 50-50.
Yeah.
So.
But it's the same thought process.
Correct. Okay. So here's the tricks that I found for my chassis that don't apply to yours. All right. What size throttle body are you running, Jackie?
70.
Okay. So me being the drive-by-wire person, a 70 millimeter throttle body in track conditions has a high likelihood of tripping the thermal load circuit on my stock ECU.
Really?
Yeah. So I can't run a 70 mil throttle body unless I go to a standalone, which runs the stock CAN system only to run gauges and run the CAN system and feeds through the CAN system. And the Nexus, I'm looking at the Nexus S2 from Haltech.
Oh, yeah.
To run the throttle body, and then I'll be fine. So there's always some chassis specific thing we have to worry about generally.
Yeah.
And that's one for me.
That's just on the engine side. We didn't even get to the chassis yet.
Yeah, we're not even there yet. Okay. So that's where I am, I think. Like, you really need to go through bit by bit. I'm going to make X power in this class. How do I get there? And what is every little thing you need to make it happen?
Yes. Now,
and yeah,
the one caveat here, most people will kind of understand, but this is all with the theory that you're going to win or at least try to compete up front. If you don't care, if like when we all just kind of said, screw it, we're going to SD4 up by me, people just went with whatever. That's how I ended up there with a K20. And it was like 17, 20 cars, and it's fine, and you have a grand old time, you're racing, it's great. But if you're trying to be up front in a class like this is where all of the granular stuff starts to become really important.
I have to try to catch Ryan Bradfield, at least.
Yeah, so you're either going to need to make similar power, which you can't. You can, but he's always going to make more torque because of the 6-cylinder. The joys of the powered weight classes is nobody measures torque. So you either try to match him in speed horsepower-wise or try to out-corner speed him.
I mean, we're going to have to out-corner speed him, obviously.
Okay, well.
The only bonus is that his car is the only Honda made that's bigger than my car. So.
Yeah.
He's got
on track.
Yeah, it's a big car.
Yeah, I can't wait to draft off it.
For sure. Mm-hmm. I might actually catch a draft. Not that his horsepower won't drag me down the back straightaway somewhere. But so now that I've decided on power, or anybody's decided on their power and weight, the biggest modifier adjustment is tire and wheel size, because you have to fit a template in our rules.
Yes.
You may have. Right. But in other classes, we have spec tires, right? So,
yes.
Spec tires or spec designated wheel size. I don't have a designated wheel size per se, but I have a designated template to fit. There's a lot of folks running a 245 stretched on a 10. There's some people running true 255s, like square on a 10, or the 10.5 won't fit essentially in the template.
Correct.
But so these are the considerations that I personally have to make for super touring. But like you said on the Proxy R podcast, I'm basically going to start over with a tire.
And a wheel.
And wheel, yes. That doesn't... if I'm lucky, something will carry over. but it's likely nothing will carry over, and I'm going to have to erase all my mental notes on what my pressures need to be, blah, blah, blah. Like, how much do I pick up? How much do I put down? And it requires testing, right?
Yep.
Repetition and the process. We got to go back to the basics. 100% go back to the basics on your tire. So that's what happens when we change classes, right?
Absolutely. And the only thing that's going to carry over is your rear wheel. And everything else is different.
Right.
Yeah, you've got, I wouldn't say endless options in the front, but you have a lot of options in the front, more than more than I think is really necessary, in that you might end up having to buy like 2 or 3 different wheel widths and a bunch of different tires and just go test it and see what works. I mean, I did it. I spent a year testing wheels and, well, tires, because I was on 15, so there's only one wheel I could use. And the fastest tire on paper was not the fastest tire on the car, which is interesting.
Okay. I mean, I'm taking the points for, what is it, the fender flares, right? Because I don't have a choice. I can't run a 255 on a tire. I run a 245 right now on a wheel that is too small for it, right? So when you go to a wheel that's the appropriate size, or in theory more optimal, because we haven't tested it, but in theory more optimal.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
I'm gonna have to flare because I'll be 1.3 inches outside of my fender, according to my math.
Now, here's where we go back to the beginning and talking about the rules and how they're written, and different people write different styles.
Mm-hmm.
With the ST rules, you got to read what it says about a flare and what it considers a flare, and then what else you can do since you've installed the flare. I'm just going to leave that out there.
Yeah. There's a bunch of unwritten rule things that 0 point items that are sort of there, right?
Yes.
So,
but some of them
don't
fall
worry.
under the flare. So
right, correct. I got you. Don't worry.
Same with the fender vents. There was some weird. Actually, I think they have clarified that there was some weird stuff with fender vents at one point, and it was like, okay, you said I can do this, but I think they've clarified.
Yeah, that's one thing so we're getting into from the tires into aero, right? We're talking about vents and other items. I don't know. Do we just say it, or like, do we leave it as a mystery for people to try to figure out?
Well, it's flares, it's spats, it's front splitter, it's hood vents, it's
right.
You're going to the wind tunnel, so you get to test all the stuff. There's things that you can do in ST that you couldn't do in Honda Challenge. So they're just new things to experience. Like hood vents are specified more so in ST than they are in Honda Challenge, at least in H2. And It's interesting, and you've probably noticed, and I know Mario's noticed and giggled, because I think I talked to him about it, and we giggled about it. And the way that it's written is funny. I'm just going to leave it at that. But it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's the fender vents are worth a bunch. I'll say that. Fender vents are worth a lot of downforce. So.
Correct. And so but these are the things you get to explore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to tinker, and everybody knows I'm a tinkerer, right? I love messing with the car. I don't have a problem messing with my car. Okay. I'm good at it. I go, gray area. What can I fit in this gray area? Right. What can I get away with? All right. So, I'm not going to run a big splitter, but I don't run a splitter now. I get one in H2 rules. My lip at its deepest point was 1.5 inches. That's it. So
you're going to want to revisit that theory.
What? That I don't want a bigger one?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I'll ask Mario. That's what I'm going to go do. So
you should ask Mario and let me know what he says.
So the other thing is, one thing that isn't explained in H2 or isn't spelled out in H2 is the thickness of your splitter, wherein ST it is. So
it is? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's only allowed to be 3/4 of an inch thick.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, I run 1.5 inches in H2. So, yeah. So, it just, I get to use half the material, sort of, but more of it. So probably not half the material, and a lot less time with the router, lightening it up and stuff. But
yeah, that is true. Where do you find plywood thick?
Oh, yeah, Lowe's.
Oh, they make it that thick.
Yeah, they make 3/4 inch birch. Actually, I find that at Home Depot.
Oh,
I know Mario's dying. Yeah, I glue them. I bond them.
Interesting.
And then I route the top. I skeletonize the top.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
And then I glue it together, and then I route the outer edge.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
I mean, at one point, there was a rule written that made me throw away a perfectly good splitter in H2. So, I mean, once they get clarified, then I have to throw things away, right? So,
if you still had it, you could probably use it. Oh, no, it's too thick. You couldn't use it in ST.
Yeah, it's too thick. And H2 runs the same flat, boring splitter rule now.
Yes.
That ST does.
Yeah.
Which I don't get to lobby about for or against anymore. I'll just take my lumps and deal with it. But
we can't even run tunnels.
Right. You can't run tunnels. You can run spats and fender vents, but you can't run a tunnel.
And you can run 2 fender vents per side.
Really? I'm going to reread the rules because I didn't see that, but that's cool. I'm down. It might help me flare it out a little bit too, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing, right? This is part of reading the rules, and you got to talk to people, right? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to Bradfield. I'm talking to Nate. I'm talking to Edgar. I'm just talking to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You, Edgar, Nate, and I on a K24, they're basically going about it differently, than I might be. They all have, they used to have ported, both of them had ported heads. I don't think you need a ported head, but not a wildly ported head. Trying to save money, So.
Depends on how your dyno reads.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's the thing, right? This is my progression, and this is how I think I should do it. You can tell me if I'm wrong, how maybe other people should do it, and definitely consideration. But I'm going to run my old tires on the dyno just to see what the power makes. That will help me decide which tier of tire to actually aim for and use eventually. So that'll all help figure out what I need to do. And initially I'm not going to the 12.5 or 13-to-1 compression block because of budget, right? This is a build. I'm not sprinting to the front. I'll build my way there.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the head that I'm going to use on the block, but I will use a stock block and see where I land. I will be under, but I probably need to dip my toe into this going faster. We're talking about a 50% power increase potential.
ST4 cars are fast.
They're fast.
Yeah. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble in an ST4 car.
Right. So you're talking about power, wheels, the aero you're putting down. All of those three things are about to influence what we're going to talk about next. And that's the suspension side of the house. Your favorite.
My favorite.
Which, you already told me, stop being poor and be serious and show up on triples and let everybody know I mean business, right?
That's right.
Is there a penalty for triples? Or is there any penalties for this stuff in ST4?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think there is, but I'm not positive, so don't quote me.
Yeah, I didn't intend to be on triples. That's why I never even looked. But if you're contemplating showing everybody your boss when you move up classes and show up with triples, you better check and make sure you're not taking a penalty. And if you are, so be it, if you want to.
So
Jackie,
here's the thing.
Are penalties worth it?
Yeah. So you're going a lot faster. You're trying to control the chassis, moving faster with more horsepower. You're making more grip. Triples start to become, I don't want to say necessary, but like an H2 car doesn't need triples, I don't think. It's not going fast enough. I mean, it would be nice, obviously, right? You can tune with it and do some cool stuff. But I think as the cars start to get faster, lap time wise, if it gets heavier, I don't know which way we're going with that, but you're probably not going to add weight. But the triples or 4A start to lean towards the necessary side because you need that chassis control. There will be places, especially like VIR, that were like easy flat, and now you're like, ooh, if I touch this curb, I might die. I need some, I need a better blow off here, or I need some high speed control wherever. I use VIR as an example because it's pretty much fast everywhere. So, at a minimum, a really good remote 2-way, and the only reason I say it's remote is so we can make it a 3-way later. But yeah, the biggest thing, I mean, I didn't add any power when I was in ST4. I was starting to build an engine when I cracked the frame. So,
okay.
But my big thing was like, all right, let me work on the chassis side and optimize and see how much corner speed I can get out of this car and see if it's even like a viable option, or do I need to like build something else? And I got there. I was right there with the fastest people in ST4 in my region, comparing data like apples to apples, aim to aim stuff. And I was right there, or maybe a little bit quicker here or whatever on corner speed. And I just didn't have any power. So if you're going to do it on a budget, not so much a budget, but like not throw the kitchen sink at it all at once, the chassis side of things, because it's going to take longer, is probably what you should do first. I wouldn't do the old tire thing. If you think you're going to end up on a 255 on a 10.5 or whatever, just do that right off the rip, because it's going to take some figuring out how it's going to want to be set up and pressures and whatnot. And then when you add power, it's going to fuck with everything. You're going to have to do it again anyway.
Okay. I was literally just going to run the old set on the dyno and then drag the car back running and finish off some stuff. But the other thing is, it's not just your dampers. Like, you were able to use geometry correction kits now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's worth it.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't make it. So
I was having this conversation with somebody earlier, and you don't have to do it, obviously. but there's a benefit to it, which, I mean, we have whole podcast episodes about that. Y'all can go back and listen.
Right.
Yeah, you can do roll center now. You can do bump steer now. You know, and you're on a truck car. These things really they make a difference in everything, but the truck car can get a little funky sometimes with bump steer. So now you fix it.
Yeah, I've never found it, but I was also going slow, right? So
Well,
maybe I'll find
now.
it.
You'll be lower now. That's where it starts to get weird, when you start to change the ride heights further than intended.
I mean, everybody said I live the low life already. My car's pretty slammed.
All right. Probably going to be lower now, unless you're already at the limit of tire diameter, like wheel and tire clearance up front.
Oh, are you guys running as low as you can get?
No. I had that conversation with somebody today too.
Okay.
We do not run it as low as possible by tire clearance. You run it as low as possible by the mesh. The geometry will tell you where to put it with a window, and you have some room to play.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't just freely slam
Yeah,
it.
I think I'm in there.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's why my car looks dope slammed. I mean, everybody's like, look at all that tire tuck. That's because I live the low life. you know?
Okay.
But it's where it needs to be, I think. So, but you have to think about all of this stuff. I will now, because I'm going to be on a bigger, stickier tire, I will now break out all of my front sway bars and go through all of that testing again. I will drag my rear. I have another rear sway bar now. I will drag that out for testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Summit Point on a Tuesday are going to be great again, just like we were before I started this stupid K24 business. So
there's one more thing that you didn't touch on that's really important that people overlook.
Oh, we got
especially
two
with
more
like
things.
such a big horsepower jump.
Okay.
Brakes.
Tell me about it then.
Brakes.
Yeah, that was my next one.
Okay.
That was my next topic. I got you.
You know, let me sit back.
So
let me shut up.
No. Let's talk about it, because this is a problem for me too.
Okay.
I'm terrible. I'm mentally bad at braking. So I have to get into my rhythm to really do it. Out of the box, I feel shaky. First event of the year usually feels shaky, right?
Okay.
And I've had 2 brake failures in turn 1 at Summit Point going slow. So I know when I hit whatever speed that I was used to by the 5 marker, 4 marker, a little past the 4 marker, when I hit that speed at the start stand or wherever I'm going to be when I hit it, when I get down there, I'm going to be a little hesitant, right?
Yep.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
I have a big brake podcast. Like, I like big brakes and I cannot lie. Go ahead and you can just Google that. Okay. I don't know if there's a bigger brake kit for my car out there.
So it's not the size so much. I mean, it is. What I see happening a lot.
Dang, I almost got a quote out of you.
Why?
About it's not about the size, but okay.
Listen, sidebar, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the size. Ask your wives. Okay. Anyway, clip that. So what I see happening a lot is like an H2 car, not an 8th gen, because I don't think you even have this option in an 8th gen. But like a Golden Era car, let's say you were converting like a Miata, or maybe you were like an ST5 car, you're going ST4, because their brake rules are completely different in ST5. The speeds that you're picking up, I mean, we're doing, you know, if you're making close to what horsepower you need to, you're doing like 140 miles an hour at VIR, almost at New Jersey, like 136 or 7, 140 at the Glen, twice. So what the issue becomes is like your brake kit not like rotor size is too small, but your caliper and your pad size is too small. So I ran into this one, and I didn't even think about it when I built my car for H1 originally. And I went through like a set of brake pads a day. The rotors were glowing. It was insane. And those brakes were perfectly fine for all those years in H2. But adding weight and or power wasn't enough. Like I said, most of you 8th, 9th, and 10th gen people, your brake kit size-wise should be fine, because I don't think they make one that's small. You know, you may end up like playing with pads. Maybe you're starting to overtemp the pad that you were on because you were on, just throwing stuff out there, you were on a DTC 60 and it was fine, right? Because you're only going 125. Now you're going 140 and that 60 is not doing it. So that's something else that you've got to think about, kind of hard part wise. And then how you're physically applying the brakes does change a little bit, but then you start to get used to it. Like you get used to the speed and it becomes second nature. But yeah, the first time you step on the brakes going like 135, 140 hard, you're like, ooh, I hope this works. The car brakes straight. Oh, this is kind of quick. And your car's got ABS that works. That helps. You're not worried about flat spotting tires and whatnot. But, you know, if you had like some weird little thing before that you were driving around and didn't notice where you put the brakes on in the car, kind of yawed. Now it's really going to yaw because you're going way faster and potentially putting more brake pressure in. Not really, but, you know, in theory. But, yeah, you'll get used to it. Funny story. When I got my eye surgery, I couldn't see for a long time, and I just drove like that, and it was fine. And the first time I went to New Jersey and I could see how short the runoff was at Thunderbolt in turn one, it backed my brake marker up. My brain couldn't process it. I was like, ooh, that's scary. I didn't know it was there. And you probably can't hear it in the video, but there was definitely a session that I was out talking to myself, like, just wait. And I couldn't do it. And that may be the same kind of boat you're in. You know, like, I am going way too fast. This thing's not going to stop. Put the brakes on wherever it's comfortable, like on a test day, and just creep up into it. You'll get there.
Yeah, I was on the R16s.
Is that Carbotech?
No, the other one.
Oh.
Out of North Carolina.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, they melted everything in H2 in the wheel well of the H2 setup. I mean, everything. They were on fire. Yeah.
On fire, like they weren't enough pad?
I think they were too much pad and they got like super hot. I don't know. Because I went down I went down to the R12 and it was fine.
Okay. Interesting.
Car felt great. It was weird, but I may have to go up or something. Lots more considerations though. I don't have any airflow going to my brakes. I may need to think about this.
That's a possibility.
Right? Like,
I still don't, but it's definitely a possibility.
Right. It's not. It could be on my car, may not be. Your car may not need it, but somebody's might. It's something you need to think about.
Yes.
And be ready for.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Because you're going faster. You're going to try to stop, just as much. And physics. We'll just leave it at physics, right?
Thermodynamics.
So, yeah. You're not using the same brake markers, though, as you were in H1 or H2 trim, are you?
Yep. Don't do that.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, I am.
Yeah, not off the brake. I won't.
No, definitely don't do that. But yeah, I use every brake marker that is a brake marker, a zone that has a board. All my brake points are about the same, and I am at least 12 miles an hour faster everywhere. Give or take.
Yeah.
We did an average, and it was, it's about 12 miles an hour.
I do need to remember the relationship between the quality of tire I'm aiming for with the horsepower to
Oh, that was on a Toyo RR.
in ST4.
Yeah, it was great.
Yuck. It was great.
We'll talk offline. I'll tell you why it was great.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about is consumables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we sort of hinted about this in text messages back and forth. And we've talked a little bit about it in brakes. You said you burned up a set of brakes a day until you got your brake stuff figured out.
That's correct.
More power, more corner speed, wears out tires, right? Like,
wears out everything.
Wears out everything. We're getting there, right? On our engines, okay, big cam wears out tensioner and chain, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Tensioner and chain.
For sure.
You know, so you're looking at, for us in the K series motors, I personally believe you're going to be on titanium retainers, likely. You know, no, you're on steel retainers.
I've always been on steel retainers since I broke a titanium 1.5.
Right. Well, if you're on a titanium one, especially on a big cam, you're going to need an annual maintenance on those.
Absolutely.
Don't even check it. Just replace it. Okay. K series on a big cam, chain and tensioner, guaranteed.
Yep.
Take it to the bank, right? Tires, brakes, wheel bearings. Think about the heat transfer that's going into your wheel bearings, right?
Yeah.
All of these things are going to increase. So my H2 budget is not going to fund an ST4 weekend.
It'll be close once you figure it all out. Because you're not going through wheel bearings every weekend, hopefully, right? But your basic weekend...
Not when I can still buy them from Honda.
Oh, there you go. But your weekend consumables, like fuel, oil, tires, brake pads, that's a general weekend consumable, right? So you're going to go through... If you use ethanol, you're definitely going to use more fuel. But even so, on like a 12.5 to 1... even a stock K series, like a stock K24 with drop-ins, you're going to use more fuel than you did, but it's not going to be a ton. Oil's going to be about the same because the engines of K series are great and they don't really burn it. It's going to use more brake pads for sure. Even once you get it kind of dialed in, if you need to make a pad change or something, you're just going faster and it's going to use more pad. Unless your brake kit was like horrible before and you like physically added pad size. That's kind of the only way where your pad wear is going to go down. And tire. I can get away with it because I'm light. I was 2450 in ST4, so I could drive a Toyo at 11 tenths for the whole race and not have it fall off. Unless it was hot. If it was like the middle of the summer, 90 degrees or something like that, you may have to manage a little bit. But like Watkins Glen, and driving as hard as I want the whole time. But I was light. But tire wear, yeah, tire wear is going to go up. Also, if we're not all on the same tire. So you may end up on a tire that's more picky with heat cycles than a Toyo was. Just as an example, right, for anybody listening and they're thinking about doing this. If you end up, let's just say on a Hoosier or something that's picky with a heat cycle, that tire may only be good for like 2 sessions, essentially, and then it's junk. It has material on it. You could use it for a test day or something, but it's not going to be fast. And if you're trying to run at the pointy end and it's getting down to that kind of like, if I leave scrubs on, I'm fourth, and if I put stickers on, I could win. There you go. So that alone can drive up your tire budget. And then you have to figure out what rain tire to use.
Oh, Lord.
It's fun. It's fun over here in this pond.
Yeah, it's okay. So, as a sidebar, you sent me the picture of Nate's Multimatic. Were they doubles?
Double non-remotes.
Yeah, double non-remote Multimatic. Okay, so be careful where you step, because when you move up, you may step into an arms race, and I think that's what we're in right now. So.
Yeah, ST4 can definitely be an arms race. Ooh, excuse me. And if it's an arms race, you better be really good at reading and understanding rules, really good at building a car, or have someone, building your car that is good at that and kind of understands what you're doing. And you better be able to wheel the crap out of that thing. I don't even know how to explain it, but it is a very different experience driving a car that fast. And they're generally all under 300 horsepower, but driving a car that fast hard, it's different. And some people pick it up quick, some people it takes them a minute, but it's a different experience for sure. So,
okay. Whew. I'm looking forward to it. I don't expect myself to be able to go up the S's at VIR flat anymore for a while. So
I was watching my VIR video and I was like, oh yeah, I never did go up flat.
Yeah.
And my car's not fast in ST trim.
Well, you say that, but you said you weren't doing so bad, so.
I wasn't.
So I have a question. I tried to see if you had answered the 2026 segment, and I don't know if I actually ever asked you about this segment for 2026. So are you ready for that?
Sure.
So on your race car, ABS or no ABS?
Oh, ABS. We had this conversation.
Oh, we did? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I didn't search well enough. This is what happens when I do it at work.
It's okay. So. I can answer twice.
Well, I'm trying to collect all the data. That's all. So look at me, not doing my due diligence, apparently. But
ABS big tip.
So yeah, I remember now, because you were using the what is it, FD2 Type R,
DC5R.
DC5R. Okay, yeah. So that's the other thing. If your car doesn't have ABS and you came from a class that said no ABS, you need to look at that under the brakes too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And you need to read the rules and see what they say as far as ABS. I don't know if any of the other ST classes word it differently than 4, because like 5 and down, some of the brake stuff is different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, just to paraphrase, it's like OEM ABS or OEM to the manufacturer ABS or MK60 with or without a CSL flash. That's how it was the last time I read it.
Yeah, I read it last week, and there were 2 flash manufacturers that were noted, but it was like stock or these 2, and that's it.
Yeah. And it's basically a CSL flash, which is, all fine and dandy if you have a rear-wheel drive car, but does that work on a front-wheel drive car?
Oh, well, it's a heck of a way to test that,
right?
In my opinion. But
so then it's okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I just go with an OEM for my manufacturer. In this case, Honda. Maybe I just go with a Honda ABS because I know that it works.
Right, and it's set up for your engine and drivetrain configuration,
right,
and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could make an MK60, I'm going to air quote, work, as in you can put sensors where they need to be.
Oh, yeah.
You can plug it all in and power it. But how does it work? And does it have internal rear wheel drive bias? We don't necessarily know the answer to that.
Oh, it does.
If you do know the answer, Oh, do we?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Right. So if it's rear wheel drive biased, I don't know if you really want that in your front wheel drive car. But
You can put, and again, this is where you need to read the rules, but you can. In this case, you would put a bias valve in it to dial some rear brake out of it. But there's other things that you need to do to put an MK60 in a Golden Era car. So, like, you really need a bias valve. Just gonna kind of leave that there. But
yeah,
these are the
and they're not necessarily cheap.
No, and it's a lot of work to put ABS in a car that doesn't have it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of plumbing. It's a lot of wiring. Da 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 da. I mean, my new car,
axles, hubs, all that stuff.
Yeah, and if you're gonna go with something else, excuse me. Let's say it was open and you could use some, $15,000 motorsports ABS or whatever. But is that going to work with your like OEM tone rings? Something you would need to figure out or find out or whatever the case. But I mean, there's other slippery slope things in ST, like you can put a carbon roof on the car or whatever material roof. Is it available? If you're building a car from scratch, it's not a bad idea. You're like, well, I'll take the roof off and have the cage guy do his thing and make his life easier, and then I'll put this other roof on. But are you planning on like double dipping in classes where that's not legal in another class? That's something else you need to think of if you wanted to bounce back and forth. Let's say between ST5 and H2 or H1 and ST4 or, whatever other class. You could be a BMW person and you want to bounce around. So they definitely give you enough rope to hang yourself. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. They're like, okay, here are the points you can take, right? It's essentially power, weight, tires, aero. There are other transmission stuff. We didn't really talk about that, but
it doesn't really apply to us yet.
Right. It doesn't apply to us yet, but you will. You need to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're like, I have a X car and I need this much power. If you don't go, can my transmission handle that power? If that does not go through your mind, you will have an expensive problem likely. So,
yes, absolutely.
And you ruin a weekend. It's invariably going to happen, So you have to check that, right? We know our cars can handle, K-Series can handle that that amount of power, as well as they handle everything, right? They're glass in certain ways, but the power isn't the part that made them glass. So
that's correct. Yeah. Yep. What else? Axles could be an issue, but axles have been pretty good quality wise lately, so should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of ways to build the same car with a different spin on it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, especially in ST. So there's some base things that I decided I was going to do and potentially remove some things, which would be modifiers if I made enough power, right?
Okay.
So I prioritized some of those things. Not that I think I'm going to make the power, but I've been accused of always making good power. So maybe I'll make good power.
You do always make good power, but you're at the mercy of whatever dyno's at the track.
Oh, let's not even get in. I don't want to talk about that.
Are you guys using the same dyno that we use now?
I have no idea, but it's not the same. Where are your people coming out of?
I think Ohio.
I think we are then.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We're going to talk then.
Yeah, for sure. I don't need to let this out on the air too much. So, Jackie, it's been a pleasure. transitioning to a new class is always going to be tough, right? So
It's fun though, because you get to learn a lot of new stuff.
yeah, and so one of the deciding factors for me was I get to apply a lot more of the stuff that we talked about and that I've learned from other people in this class. And so I was like, why not? You know, plus I get to race with Ryan again and Nate and some other guys like Jacobetto, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
And you'll
Yeah.
get to race against different cars. Like
Yeah, so I really
car's a
enjoyed that,
front-wheel drive, so that it's different.
yeah, so we used to do Beast of the East in NASA Mid-Atlantic, and it was kind of cool because we would get ranked by, let's say, every 1 second increment at the track, right? So if you run a 212 at VIR, and it doesn't matter whose car it is, if you're running a 12, you know, you're in one color group. There'd be 6 or 8 cars, right? If you run a 211, you're in the next group ahead, and you're supposed to be racing those guys. And I always had a lot of fun because the dynamics that other cars have, the strategy makes you think, right? You know,
Yes.
this car enters these corners this way, it comes out this way, I go in this way. How do I time that to either defend or make the pass? Like there's a lot more going on. When it's front wheel drive versus front wheel drive, it's the same.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
other cars do different things,
Yeah.
especially rear wheel drive cars. But I know they have different dynamics, right? Like the slip angle of a BMW is going to be different than how the Corvettes come into the corner and things like that. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everyone's usually impressed by what front-wheel drive cars do when they've never seen them in their class before. So that's always a nice conversation. People are like, wow, that car does really well here, blah, 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 blah. It's like, we don't notice because we drive the cars all the time, but they're not terrible and pushy like the internet likes to tell you.
they can be
Oh, anything.
if you do it wrong.
Anything can be
Yeah.
bad if you do enough wrong stuff. Anything can be bad.
Yeah. Yes. It feels like I'm going to reinvent the car, but it's the car that I'm comfortable with, you know?
Mhm.
So it should be just a new journey with the same old car, right? So I can't wait.
It'll only be the same car and steering wheel when you're done.
Yeah, because I'm even changing my seat, but that's a whole nother ball game,
You
whole
could-
nother conversation.
You could take the dash out. I mean, you could do that in Honda Challenge also, but like in ST, people just eject the dash.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's just not me.
I don't like it. I think it's ugly, but it saves some weight, stuff like that. So
Well, then they didn't gut their dash correctly. I guarantee my dash doesn't weigh more than 3 pounds. So anyway. All right. Jackie, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.